A lot of the mobility and flexibility routines I see on YouTube are simply just too challenging for the average person who is really stiff or locked up or considers themselves inflexible. So this is gonna be a really good 5-minute routine that anyone should be able to do and see benefits from, especially those that don't consider themselves flexible. All you need is a pillow and a foam roller, and maybe something comfortable to lay on. And this first one is gonna be real chill, real simple, and you can follow along as we go through this, or you can watch this and then do it on your own. The choice is yours. The first thing we're gonna do is grab that foam roller and lay on our side, and we're gonna place it just like that. We're gonna put our head on the pillow, or you could fold it in half, which is what I like to do. And then you can just support it like you're taking a nap like this. So what you wanna do is make sure you have a 90-degree bend at both your knees and your hips. You can go a little bit less than that if you're comfortable, but somewhere in this range is where you wanna be. Now, just relax all the tension out of your body. Just stay nice and chill and relaxed. And now I want you to exhale and roll that top knee ahead of the bottom knee just a little bit until you feel like your low back is going to move in any meaningful way. You're gonna get a little bit of movement in your low back, but not too much. And then you're going to inhale and roll that top knee behind the bottom knee. And again, trying to pivot from the knee itself. The key here is to go real slow and make sure you have no tension through your body as you do this. After doing about 15 rolls on one side, go ahead and flip over and then do it on the other for, again, those 15 same slow and controlled rolls. Now, after doing one set of 15 rolls per side, you can set aside the pillow and also the foam roller for this next one. And you're just gonna lay on your back, but you need to make sure you're on a comfortable surface for this, or else it's not gonna feel super great. So what we're gonna do here is a little half rolling exercise. This is going to decompress our low back and upper back, and also loosen up the muscles and the tissues in that area. So we're gonna just stay here in this hook lying position to start, and then we're gonna take our hands and lock them between the mid to sort of lower part of our hamstring right here. And you can adjust whatever's comfortable. Some people just like to grab one leg like this at a time, or link the hands together. So to initiate this, we're going to just exhale, come up, inhale down. Try to get some momentum with it and try to develop a rhythm. And it should feel nice and comfortable, and you're just staying nice and relaxed and breathing through this. Do this for about a minute. Okay, for this next one, you don't need a pillow, you don't need the foam roller. All you need is something comfortable to move around on, like this mat or just like a carpeted floor. Now, we're gonna start in this position where we have this leg bent, shin is flat on the floor, the inside portion at least, and you're slightly less than 90 degrees of hip bend. This back leg, you have just kind of hanging out. It shouldn't be too far behind you. It should be comfortably down by your side, straight out from you like this. And then what you're gonna do is keep this arm over your head, supporting it, nice and relaxed. And you have this arm right here, flat on the floor, straight out in front of you. So what you wanna do is slowly reach this top arm, trying to create some separation between your shoulder blade and your spine. We call this protraction of the shoulder. Really reaching it, not keeping it pinned back. Just a few inches, real slow, as you simultaneously roll that top knee until you feel like if you were to go any further, your back would start to arch like this. You wanna make sure that you're not doing that. Your rib cage needs to stay relatively down here. So at the end of that, you're gonna feel some opening in your back as you breathe in through your nose as you get that reach. Now here's the key. To roll out of this, you wanna make sure that you're not squeezing your shoulder blade back, you're keeping the reach, and you're just turning from your chest and your breastbone as you open up, and then roll back to here as you exhale. And then you're going to inhale and simultaneously lift these two together, over again here, get them flat, finish off that slow, long inhale with a reach, and then exhale, roll back, nice and chill like that. You want to do this for about 6 to 10 slow rolls per side. If you found these exercises to be helpful and very realistic for you to do, and they're not too challenging, there's a lot more where that came from in my beginner body restoration program. Check it out down below in the description. It is for anyone to be able to do, and it starts with very simple exercises and progressively builds on them as you regain more range of motion and mobility. Now for this last one, you're gonna be on your back. You're gonna double fold the pillow and you're gonna stack the foam roller on top of it so that way it's securely underneath the mid to upper portion of your hamstring muscle, that back of the thigh muscle. You're gonna sit here and then pull the other leg back here so that way the knee is pointing sort of straight up at the ceiling. You don't wanna pull it too far back to where you feel a pinch in the hip. Now all you need to do is just hug the back of this hamstring to make sure there's no tension in the leg. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna push down into that roller with the back of that thigh muscle, that hamstring, and you're gonna come off of the ground a little bit. The key is to make sure that you're doing a posterior tilt of your pelvis like this, and what you're not doing is you're pushing and flaring your rib cage like that. That's not what we want. So the way you know you're doing this right is if you feel like one vertebrae at a time of your low back is coming off of the ground, or just your tailbone is lifting up as your low back stays flat. You're gonna feel a lot of hamstring working right here, some glute, and that's good. You wanna hold this for about 10 to 15 seconds at a time. And you wanna do about 3 different pumps of that. And you might get to a certain point where you feel like your hamstring is starting to cramp or your glute is. Don't get to that point. If you are, you're trying way too hard. It should be nice and gentle and relaxing. If you feel like you can't push into this thing without your low back activating, then just use more support, maybe stack up more pillows or try something to elevate that leg a little bit more. Now, after doing that on each side for just 3 pumps and holds of about 10 to 15 seconds, you wanna start to reduce how much elevation you're using. So you could move this simply just further away like that. And now I have to push down and I have to use more, this is called hip extension, to get up. You might feel stretch on the front of your hip. This should feel nice. You can hold this again. And you have the option of stopping after the progression like this. Again, another 3 pumps of 10 to 15 second holds at the top. And if you really wanted to, you could just take it away. Something, maybe the foam roller, maybe the pillow. You can do one final one like this. And this is gonna be the hardest. You have to have a good bit of hip extension to do this, but this will really challenge that end range. Make sure your low back is never working at all. And finally, you could do a third round of it where you kick out the pillow and you just put the foam roller underneath the meaty part of your upper hamstring and everything else applies. Now this is going to require a good bit of hip extension on this downside leg. So if this is uncomfortable or you can't do this without engaging your back or something just doesn't feel right, then just add more support. It's totally fine. But if you can eventually progress here over the period of a couple of weeks, this would be great. And then this should really help open up the front of your hip and get your hamstrings and glutes working better to help you stand taller. If rolling on the ground like that is uncomfortable or unrealistic for you, an alternative is to take that foam roller and put it underneath the lowest part of your pelvis right here. Have your head supported by that pillow or cushion or whatever, and then just hug your knees to your chest as far back as you can comfortably go. And then I want you to exhale fully through your mouth. And then you're gonna feel your low rib cage come down. I want you to hold that rib cage down because your side abs are going to engage at the end of that exhale. And then I want you to inhale through your nose, not losing tension in that side abs. And you should feel your mid and low back decompress really nicely. Take long, deep breaths in this position, probably about 5 to 8 breaths, but make sure that you don't feel any pinch in the front of your hips. If you do, you can back off a little bit and make sure you're not engaging your neck when you inhale, because if you are, that's gonna be bad for your nervous system. We don't want that to happen. So make sure your neck is totally relaxed.